Good. We see people joining in.
Yes, so 91 people have already joined the session. It's 94 now, so people are coming in. So we are good to go now.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to one and all. We are 100 plus. Okay, we start. Today we do the second episode of season 7. My name is Ashfaq Ahmed. I'm the anchor of PMI Chapter Exchange, and I'm also the vice president of PMI Mumbai chapter. This year we intend to do 12 events, and this is the second of it. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the current volunteers of Chapter Exchange program. I think some of our volunteers are away and not could not attend the call. So Tao from PMI Taiwan chapter, Priscilla from PMI Sao Paulo chapter, Brazil chapter, Anita from the PMI Mumbai chapter, Amod from PMI Mumbai chapter. We already Amod, you want to say hi to the audience?
Hey, hello everyone.
And Rangaraj from PMI Mumbai chapter.
Hi all.
Yeah. So before we start, let me just tell you what's going around. We did our PM conclave, which was 21st of February. That's the reason we could not do this event last Friday, and we were able to complete it successfully with 300 plus um, offline attendees. So it was a mega event, and if you follow us on chapter on LinkedIn, you'll be able to see many of those messages, news, and photos from or learnings from the event on the chapter. If you're not following our LinkedIn page, please do so. This is our third event in the month of this is the second event, which is on 27th February, and we have another 9 events lined up for rest of the year. So that this is the reason that we were doing we did 10 event last year. This year we want to do 12. Let's see how it goes. This is a chapter exchange effect. Um, Today we have PMI friends joining in from 39 different PMI chapters from across the globe: North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Plus many more supporting chapters from the globe. We will close today's session with a link for the next event, which is on 20th of March. So please hold, please wait to get an early access to the link. And let me introduce to the exchange effect. And this is how the registration looks. So today we have around 400 registrations from across the globe from 50 plus countries. Please, while you are online, please say hello to your other participants and continue networking while we get started. You can update your profile in Airmeet with your LinkedIn details and connect with fellow attendees. Right? And from Alaska to New Zealand and all countries and continents in between. So we thank you everyone for your warm response on this initiative. The meeting is being recorded. If you are uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend. Else you are welcome to continue. Everyone here in this event are speaking on their individual capacity. Our views do not represent our organization view in any ways. This is a spotlight view, and like every time, we would expect participants to actively participate in this event. Share a quote on the topic or on the event on our chapter exchange program. So use the chat window to share a quote. Our team will keep monitoring and pick up the best quote, which will be shared by the end of this event. We will spotlight you, and your quote will be published in our attendee spotlight session in our Insight Exchange Nuggets. So gear up and share up your quote on the chat window. Just a snapshot of our program. Chapter Exchange is a PMI chapter collaborative event with 39 plus chapters supporting of the program representing all region that PMI is in today. And PMI Chapter Exchange is a virtual community of chapter leaders, a community that transcends across countries, continents, and culture. And we like to put it that way. Our vision is to evangelize cross-chapter collaboration and encourage cultural diversity. It's all about teamwork, co-creating monthly events to bring diverse perspective to our chapter members, spurring networking and collaboration opportunities. And as and by doing this, we are building a community to share good practices within and external to the program. That is why you will notice the chapter from diverse background participating in this program, because we truly believe diverse connection leads to innovative solutions. Now over to our guest speaker for the today. Susan, you want to
Yes,
share your story? Yeah,
I want
I
to, and
will.
I think you need to stop sharing yours before I
I
can
will.
do
I
so.
will. I will stop share. Yeah, go ahead,
So we'll
please.
give that a moment to kick in. Thank you very much for getting us started, and I will try to share my screen, and then I will start to go through the presentation. If you can confirm that you see the slides, that would be great.
Yes, I'm able to see your slide. If you can put it on the slide mode, that's excellent.
Do you see it like this?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, let's get started then on this very interesting topic. And I was very eager to be invited to be your guest speaker here today because this topic to me brings two of my passions and worlds together. So, as part of my introduction, indeed, you can see here how I always introduce myself as someone to get things done and is always in search for better ways. I mean, have me being at a restaurant, I'm trying to optimize, the process there. Always looking at that. It's a bit annoying sometimes, but it is my natural thinking. And throughout my career, yes, I developed myself in project management. So I've got my PMP, also my Prince 2 certifications done. But on the other side, the other world, I'm a really big favor and fan of is the whole Lean Six Sigma black belt world. I'm also black belt there. So yeah, the Lean with the value stream mapping plus the project management side, bring it together in this session. I'm really looking forward to get you going on the topic and further exchange views also with my fellow panelists. So what I will cover just as this part of this simple short introduction is just some key concepts about lean, because not everyone might be aware of the lean world and how waste plays a role in there. Connecting that to the topic of value stream mapping clearly, and how to apply then also this value stream mapping in a project, because that's indeed where we are exploring where the two ways cross today. A practical example, and of course then ending with the ways that we tend to see in projects, and also opening up the floor to all of you then to share your thoughts there, so we can really also learn from each other and get inspired. So talking about value add versus non-value add, I think that's the first angle to explore here, because for any activity you do, right, you can reflect for yourself, does this add value? Is this really needed? Is it something that we want to have in place? Is our customer waiting for this? Is someone waiting for this? Or are we just wasting our time? So reflect on the value add versus the non-value add. And if you explore the non-value add there, you see two angles. I mean, it can be, yes, something that our customer or our end customer does not necessarily need, but it's still needed. You want to minimize that. That might be your governance internally. I mean, there might be a lot of that, which might be a bit too much. That might be waste, but some of that might still be necessarily, whilst the end customer is still not really waiting for or willing to pay for that. So be aware of that, minimize those type of activities. And of course, if something is seen to be pure waste, you need to eliminate that. It's not something you want. It's not something your company wants. It's not something your customer is willing to pay for. So before we are further tackling that topic and go a little bit more into the value stream mapping, I would like to open a poll, if you can help me with that. I would love it to be posted and ask for you to reflect a little bit. Like if you look at your project and it takes 9 months, right? It starts in January, it finishes in September. How much of the time in between of the start and end of your project is actually spent on value added work? curious to see what your current reflections are there. So let's open the poll and get indeed, when it's closed, the feedback on the numbers. Is it 9 months? Is everything value add? Is it 6 months out of the 9, 3 months, or is it 1 to 2 months only?
Susan, are you able to see the screen? The
No,
poll?
I am not.
No?
No.
Okay. Okay. So we will give another 2 seconds.
Yeah, perfect.
And yeah, I think we see that 55%, 46 people have voted. 52% of people say that it is 6 months, and 17% say it is full 9 months.
So 17% even thinks that 9 months of your project is actual value spent. So we'll keep it in the back of your mind, and let's look at the end of this presentation if you still feel the 9 months is value add. But the answer is 3 months only. So 3 months out of the 9 months is actual value added work. And you will hopefully see after this presentation that a lot more is maybe not so value add as you would have thought about before, or you're already an expert in the topic and your project runs very, very much value add. So just to get your thinking going here, indeed, we zoom into the lean world. So if you talk about lean, it's all about learning to see waste. And what do we say is waste? Well, that's exactly those non-value added activities that we were just talking about. Something your customer is not necessarily willing to pay for. And in the lean world, we have a abbreviation. There are a few of them. You also have an alternative here, which is called downtime. But this Tim Woods one is the one I'm using here. And it will just be a bit of a helping hand to remember the 8 type of wastes that are introduced in a manufacturing production environment where the whole lean world is coming from. So the first one being transport. So transport definitely is moving materials, product, right, from one location to the other. If you then look at the next one, the I of inventory, that is more about the different things that can pile up. So if you have materials piling up, maybe too much inventory at the wrong place, it can be damaged, it can be harmed, it can be waste, and it can actually require rework, or it can be expired, which is something you don't want. So you want to have the right inventory at the right level, is what they say here in this whole lean world. Third one is movement. That's more of people, right? So people moving around, multiple ways of, bouncing back and forward, multiple ways of moving from one location to the other, big distances to overcome, maybe a layout that's not being optimal. And the next one being a key one, waiting time, right? Are you waiting for that next meeting? Are you waiting for the right person to show up? Maybe someone is off sick. Are you maybe also waiting for inventory because you don't have the right materials to start working, and you are waiting for that to be delivered to you? Then we have 2 O's, the first one being overproduction. So that means that you are producing too much. Well, that's a clear one, right? If you produce too much, again, that is not something that you necessarily want because you build up inventory again. So are you producing the right amounts? And are you producing with the right level of detail? So are you not over processing? Are you not checking on checking on checking? Are you potentially creating more details than the customer is waiting for? So are you producing what is actually right, and with that at the right pace? Then we've got the D of defects. So yeah, that's a clear one, right? If you have a defect, if something is not produced first time right, you need to rework it. It takes time. It takes extra money to fix it. So defects is definitely a waste you want to avoid. And the final one is one that's not introduced in every model, but it's a key one in my view. It's the skills, right? Are you making optimal use of the skills of the people involved, the skills available to people? And are they spending their time on the right activities? And are you not burning any of that waste? So 8 types of waste, easy one to remember with the abbreviation. And I think it's something to keep in the back of your mind to really see, okay, hey, what do I see here? And if I really am honest, do I see some of this in my own environment? And can I indeed start to look into eliminating some of that? It's also maybe a nice one to remember here that there are 4 of these waste areas more on the people side. There are 4 more on the product or the product side, the material side. So indeed, that sometimes helps people to spot them in the right area. So looking into the value stream mapping, because we talked about waste, we want to spot the waste, and a value stream is actually a tool that will really help you there. So what a value stream map does, it will look into a process. It always starts from a process flow. And on top of just mapping out the process, you will have truly walked the process and really see how many times something bounces back and forwards, where the inventory is piling up, where you might have some waiting time. So it really looks at the different types of waste in a process that will always result in your process taking more time than you originally wanted. Take, for example, the rework that I was just talking about. Well, if you have rework for defects, well, for sure, it will add time to your process. It will add time to your project because you need more time than you originally planned if things were right the first time. So as I said, it's not a process flow. It starts with a process flow. A process flow itself is really functionally focused. You understand the steps taking place in time. There's no value judgments made. You just reflect how you think the process worked, and it's also really a perceived flow. It's not the real world often. On the other side, if you look at the value stream map, you really look from the value from the customer. So it's much more customer focused. It helps you to visualize flow. How does the value flow through your process towards your customer? It helps you to spot that waste and where it's coming from. And it's a reality view, right? It's a map of reality, and it's really truly walking the process. And people might say person X sends it to person Y, but in fact, it bounces back and forward 4 times. It's not one review cycle. It takes 4 times. It might be sent to multiple people. They are not all responding. There is multiple communications taking place. So that's what you really do with a value stream map. You really plot out the real process with the real waste happening in real life. So what does it then look like, right? I mean, I just simplified the version a little bit, but if you start from a process map, you might end the time that the actual steps take. So identifying opportunity, and maybe gathering some data linked to that, it might just take you 2 days, where you would build your initial quote for, which might take you 6 days. However, if you then look at the time there might be in between, it might take a very long time before the quote is actually being created because the opportunity was already there. We have not picked it up straight away. It was not a priority back at that time. So it took a very long time before the first quote was made. And maybe you have a review round and it took a lot of time again, 50 days in between of the initial and final quote, where you really see that the value in the end is different. So if you then look at the value stream map, just from this process side, you see how an exercise like that could be done. You plot your process steps again in time. However, now you start to add all of this value. You start to add all of these waste where you see value drifting away. And look again at your process. So you just detail out your process steps in there. And then you start to add up those times. So as you can see here at the bottom, you see how that is typically being represented in the value stream map. You see the wasted time at the bottom, you see the value time at the top. And if you have those 2 times, you can have the lead time, which is the start until the end of your project in this case. It will be 280 days. However, if you look at the cycle time, which is only 11 days, you see that only 4% out of this process was really value added time. And a big question in there is like, what of the lead time can you potentially reduce? And can you potentially deliver this project or work on this process in a faster way? So another angle to take from there is really if you look here at the visualization where you see the light yellow is the wasted time and only the blue is the value added time. The lead time takes a pretty long time. And with lean, you're starting to attack the waste. You're starting to look into the causes of why all this waste is there. What is causing that? How can we eliminate some of that? And how can we, with that, shorten the actual lead time of the project? You keep the value added work the same, but you can see there's much less yellow. And with that, your percentage of value added time will increase significantly. So how would you apply that, right? It is pretty straightforward. You start with your as-is process. You bring together your team. Of course, you want to have really the people involved that really know the process firsthand. And you start to build the current as-is process map. And from there, you go to your current value stream map. By adding the waste, adding the cycle and lead times, and adding really what type of waste you see along the way, causing the time to be longer than you actually want it to be. Then next step, of course, is to visualize those bottlenecks, right? Where are the true bottlenecks in this process flow, in your value stream map? What do you want it to look like, right? What of the waste can you eliminate, and what initiatives do you need to undergo to get there? And from there, also making sure that you really have a future state with a reduced lead time, a simplified process potentially, where you really see that you have tackled some of that waste and reduced the lead time of your future project and your future process. So of course, then it's about identifying those initiatives, executing them, and truly measuring that you have indeed created a better flow and reduced the lead time of your process. So quick example for a CRM project here. So if you would be working on a CRM project, these might be the steps that you take to work on your project. Over time, it takes time, right? The actual activities take a few days or months because it's just in the end the work you put in to create the deliverables for your project. However, the cycle time is not the same as your lead time. So your cycle time might be a month. Your actual lead time, including all the waiting in between of the step, might be 9 months. And you can calculate the percentage of actual value added time here for your project. And how you would potentially look at that is to say, all right, before I can actually go from my business case that I have built into my portfolio prioritization, I need to wait because my leadership team is only coming together once a quarter or once a month to prioritize. So there is waiting time in between these steps. Also there, funding approval, it might take time because your governance is pretty complicated. It's multiple steps, it's multiple people involved. So it might take a much longer to get them all aligned. And it's not just pressing that funding approval button, but it's also really making sure that all your people and all your governance is effectively set up. If you start to actually design your system, there might be waiting time because a developer is out sick, a key developer that you have to wait before you can actually start your design. And there might not be a backup appointed, for example. And also in the building side there as well, there might be rework. Requirements might have been unclear at the beginning and you thought you were building the right product, but in the end, you have to rework it because the customers are not happy with the result. There might be features being built that do not have to be built, that take a long time to be built, but the customer is not waiting for it. It might just be something that they might need, but you never validate it. So you are producing longer, and with that, taking longer before the value gets to your customer. So with that angle, it's very interesting to look at your projects, and you might not all be working on a CRM project, but from your own projects, you might already start to spot that there are some of these opportunities also there for your project that you can start to look with different eyes to and start to see how they might be able to be eliminated or at least reduced. So to finish then off with some additional examples, and after that I'm opening up the floor in the chat for you to reflect what other examples do you maybe see in your own projects. But looking at the 8 categories of waste again, inventory, right? It might be that you have too many projects running at the same time. Well, we all know that the consequences of that will be waiting because you might be pulling from the same people and it might be getting very difficult to get people working on the deliverables of your project. Another example of transportation might be multiple handovers of information, right? Very inefficient communication flow. Or duplicate reporting channels. I mean, asking different reports to different people, which really go back and forward and might be transport of your project, which might not necessarily be very valuable. Searching for information for projects. Well, I think I've definitely recognized that. I mean, it's movement, right? Where do you store your information? Is it clear for people where you find it? Do I look at the same place at the right place immediately? Or am I searching a SharePoint with different folders, very unstructured? and it might be difficult to have the right information at hand. Overproduction, right, might really be creating features a customer doesn't want, right? So think about your Moscow, what must you deliver, should you deliver, could you deliver, won't you deliver? So really look at your requirements and see what you really need to produce. Avoid defects. Requirements might be poorly defined, as I said before. It might result in quality issues there that you have to rework, and it takes a lot of time and frustration of your team to get them indeed fixed and back on track. Skills, another interesting area in projects, right? You might have expensive people, expensive experts really doing more administrative work. How could you optimize that? How can you really leverage the quality that they have within them, the skills, the experience to the right way for your project? How do you avoid reports that no one reads? I think we've all been there, right? Your sponsor asking for an update, your steering committee asking for a different update, your portfolio board asking for a different update. How do you do one update, value add, that will really serve all the purposes and that indeed are also actually being read and being used to get your project back on track? And the final one is waiting, right? Approval delays, right? You might send something off for approval, people not being available, a meeting not having a complete group of reviewers or decision takers there, being postponed again. Very frustrational, and something definitely I have witnessed in some of my projects myself. So give that some thought, right? Wrapping up here towards the end of this introduction and handing over to the panel in a bit. But these are types of waste I have definitely seen in my projects, and I try to be as cautious on as possible to see if I can do something about that. So opening up the chat there, of course, the chat is already open, but have a look for yourself with waste spotting eyes, as I see it, to your own projects, right? Where do you see some of these steps in your project? How can you reduce the duration of your project, and how can you increase the valuable time of your project? Just to make sure that your customer is more happy, right? They might get the end results quicker, but it definitely will also help you with your own frustration and spending your own time in the right way and eliminating some of that frustration along in your projects. So please do share your examples of waste. I mean, we might inspire each other, right? You have the examples that we see and the ways we can also then start to mitigate that, right? How can we start to reduce some of that? But really key. And with that, I have a closing quote here, because I definitely feel it's definitely not us project managers always that are causing the problem here, but it's the system that we're operating in, right? The governance that's set up in our companies, the way our companies prioritize our projects as well, that we really are also a part of. And how can we start to influence that system and make it better, and with that generate flow in our projects in a more effective way.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. That was a valuable presentation. Really, I'm sure many of our participants would have picked up key points for them to check their current project and see what they are doing differently. Moving on to the next segment of our session today, I am glad to present the next segment, which is the spotlight chapter of the month, which is PMI Alaska chapter. And today we have, I need to share my screen. Today we have Björn Sorensen from PMI Alaska chapter, and he's going to present Alaska chapter for all of us. Björn, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Do you want to come on the camera, please?
Sure. I just had it. You got me?
Yeah, good. So Vyat is the PMO director in the Alaska Department of Transportation and Public Facility. He's also the vice president of outreach from PMI Alaska chapter. He has got 24 plus years of experience and also worked as a PMO director for a year. He is an MS in American Military University on project management, and he's a certified PMP and agile leadership from the University of Colorado. It's all over to you now.
All right. Good morning from Alaska. It is
We cannot
5:49
able to hear you.
a.m.
Can you be a little louder, please? Yeah.
Talk a little louder. Okay.
Yeah.
So good morning from Alaska. It is 5:49 a.m. here, and right now it is like -22 Fahrenheit. Just a little bit about our chapter. We are the only chapter in the entire state of Alaska, and if you go to the next slide, these are some of the fact sheets about us. We cover 664 square miles, or 1.7 million square kilometers. Currently, we have 587 members in government and private sectors. There's 322 companies represented in 19 different industries. We go construction, mining, energy, oil, gas, all that good stuff. In 2025, we did 4 in-person speaker events, 4 online speaker events. We had a professional development day, and we did our annual membership meeting and banquet just last month. Next slide. We did have some of our folks attend the Global Summit and the LIM conference in Arizona this year. Next. And May 29th, we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary for the chapter. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are inviting all of us to Alaska for this celebration?
go for it. Yeah. If you can come up, come up.
Thank you. But by then the weather will be better, right? Or it will still be freezing cold?
It'll be cold for you, not for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Vihar. I know it's not even 6 a.m. in the morning, and you made an effort to come on
No problem.
online and help us know more about the Alaska chapter. Thank you so much. And I'd like you to stay back and then be a part of the session.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next segment of our day is the panel discussion. So today we have the moderator, and our moderator is Pritesh. He has done a few moderation in the past, so he's a known name now. So Pritesh is a result-driven technical program manager with 9 years of experience leading complex cross-functional software programs that drive digital transformation and measurable business impact. Pritesh, you have to answer a lot of value questions today. He has successfully delivered 3 million plus in enterprise scale initiatives, known for combining deep technical knowledge with strong agile leadership, stakeholder management, and execution clarity. He excels at aligning business goals with technical delivery, managing dependencies, and ensuring visibility across global teams. Pritesh, the stage is all yours.
Hey, thanks, Ashfaq. Hey, thanks, everyone, for joining the session. And as usual, special thanks to Alaska session for coming up this early and giving us a good insight into the chapter. We'll start with introducing panelists. I would like to introduce our first panelist, Dr. Rakesh, and I would like to invite him to actually give a more detailed introduction about himself. So, Dr. Rakesh, if you could just come and say hi to our audience and give us some more detail about yourself.
Hey, hello everyone. Pratish, is my audio okay?
All good. We can hear you well.
All right. So, unlike others, I couldn't do my backdrop as beautiful as others have, but um, I come from Bangalore region, and I'm associated with the Bangalore chapter, Vice President Corporate Relations. In my work, also, I'm Vice President for R&D and Program Management for Enterprise Level Program Management. And 27 years experience R&D, aerospace, military, mostly working on the components part for the various aircraft and other systems. got into program management very early in the career. And in the beginning of my career, I served in military for 10 years. I was in Indian Navy, served on the warships as well as other ground operations. Education started with the electronics engineering, landed up in program management, doing masters and doctorate on obviously was in business administration and other things. So from certification perspective, as the career grown, took PMP and then RMP, risk management professional. I also licensed aircraft maintenance engineer from the Director General Civil Aviation India. So predominantly my introduction more into aerospace, military and defense. Thank you, Pratish.
Thanks for your time today. Actually, that's an extraordinary career journey you had. I'd like to introduce our second panelist for the event today. Carlos, would you like to say hi to our audience and tell us a bit more about yourself?
Hello there, everyone. My name is Juan Carlos Letechi. Now I am a Chef Project and Quality Officer at Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador and lecturer at Espíritu Santo University. In my experience, I have 10 years in a business to a lot of projects in energy, manufacturing, innovations, and implementations of optimization process. In the topic of project management, now I 8 years to the work and 3 years in lecture. My educations, I have the master degree in project management and business administrations. My bachelor degree is in industrial engineering, and now I have a Black Six Sigma certified from ASQ. Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos, and thanks for your time today coming to the session. Our third panelist for the event is Nadoon, and if you could introduce yourself and give us a bit more detail about your career.
Hi everyone, very good evening. For some it's good morning, some maybe late evening. So I'm representing Sri Lanka and I'm in the director board of PMI Colombo chapter. And on my career, I'm in the financial sector, working for the largest private commercial bank in Sri Lanka, having 30 years overall finance industry experience. Out of that, 20 plus years in the field of project management within the bank. So on my education side, I'm qualified in fully financial banking as a profession. Then I have a Master of Business Administration from Manipal, India. Apart from that, I'm PMP certified and specialize in digital transformation, digital implementations, and over 50 plus projects overall I have implemented and delivered. So this is a little about me. Thanks.
Thanks, Natun. That's a great introduction. I think we have a very good bunch of experienced people on the panel today, and it's quite a favorite topic of mine too. Turning the complex processes into much more clear, actionable insights, and getting that clarity to do that data-driven decisions and that to create a measurable impact. So, without further ado, I will jump right into the question. So the first question for the session is to Nadoon. The question is, how does value stream mapping differ from traditional process mapping in a project management context?
Okay, I think the keynote speaker also gave a lot of justification for the question, but I'll just briefly take the question and provide the answers. What we do really in the value stream mapping in the project management per se, we look at the macro picture through the value stream mapping. But when we take the process mapping, normally we concentrate on the basic workflow or the micro level. But there's a little bit of misconception, like whether you to do value stream mapping or the process mapping. But what I say is, like, when you are in the project management field, you have to combine these two to bring down the value. when you say it's combined, you need to do like from the value stream mapping, you will get the entire macro picture. Thereafter, you can concentrate on each workflow within that, and you can identify where the waste is there. Then you can bring up the solution. You can reduce the lead time, inactive times. This will add value. So it is the combination that you really need to use value stream mapping plus the process mapping to bring the value to the customer and to the organization.
Very insightful. So go with process mapping and value stream mapping as a combination of tool to really get that impact going across. Thanks, Nadeem. The second question will be for Dr. Rakesh. So the question is, what type of project inefficiencies or waste does value stream mapping most commonly reveal that team tends to overlook?
Yeah, very good question in terms of the identifying waste. I think Sujan already presented Team Wood acronym, and we can relate each of the word in that. Let's say first one is on the people side, which is the excessive handoff, role rotation or role fragmentation, where work move from one place to another and comes back and goes again, and there's a lot of movement in that. We may ask why it is so. If we want to do a VSM, we find it, oh, it was done like that earlier. So this is the way, so usual way. So that's one. And the waiting and hidden queue, certain things we wait for the input. A different industry faces this. Manufacturing industry actually faces a lot, waiting for machine to come up from the preventive maintenance of some breakdown, material to walk in, the operators to walk in, various other things. Of course, the rework happens. We say more software industry or the service industry. Manufacturing industry, hardly a rework is possible because then part goes bad and you need to restart again. Then apart from all this, from the waiting and all the over processing, I think we talked about it in terms of documentation. Let's say, of course, project documentation needed. We all read in the PMBOK what all needed, but sometimes we take little extra, producing more just to convince somebody in the process, saying that okay, this will please somebody, all those things. And of course, the bottleneck from the resources, the critical resource. Something is done, is going for approval for next level. 10 team members sending something for an approval to one single lead or manager or director in that case, and hence there. So there are a lot of these, and then we all do. And the last one I like most that we all do, which is multitasking. But multitasking, we see that it's a good thing, but I think this is one of the waste in the VSM perspective, because when you switch over, we always forget how much time it takes to realign to next task, and when we come back to first, there's a lot of wastage. So I think these all are some of the area that we need to look into VSM.
Thanks for that insight. Most certainly, I think Team Wood is what gave birth to the whole lean thinking mentality basically across the industry. And then the context switching that you rightly mentioned, people tend to overlook that, but then that causes a lot of time for people to get on board with what's going around. Most certainly, thanks for that. I think next question is to Carlos, and the question is, how can value stream mapping be effectively applied in knowledge-based or digital projects where output are less tangible?
It's a good question. In knowledge-based or digital projects, the value stream mapping shifts to tracking the physical materials to tracking information flows and decision flows. First, instead of the mapping products, you map how the ideas move from requirements, definitions, design, development, testing, approval, and deployment. The focus is on identifying delays in handoff, exit reviews, unclear requirements, rework cycles, and waiting times between teams. Second, your measure flow using digital metrics of a lead time, cycle time per feature or task, working process, rework rates, and approval turnaround times. Most of this data already exists tools like Jira and Primavera, the DevOps platforms, and other project management systems. You're distinguished between the value-adding activities, coding, solutions designs, client validations, and non-value-adding activities, rather than meetings, unnecessary documentations, and multiple approval layers. Finally, the VSM enables teams to design a future states with shorter feedback loops, clearer rules, smaller batch sizes, and faster decisions making, improving speeds to quality and stakeholders value even when outputs are intangibles. In reason, in digital or knowledge work, the value stream mapping and optimized to the flows of information and decisions, no materials making invisible, inefficiencies, visible, and measurables. Thank you.
Thank Carlos. Yeah, definitely using those tools to help visualize your workflow and then uh, driving that conversation of where you want to see the bottleneck or where you actually see the bottleneck in the process. Uh, I guess those tools are really added value to our life in a way. Right. The next question is to Susan. So the question is traditional project governance unintentionally creating the very waste it tries to control?
Oh, that's a tricky one, right? Because yes, I mean you introduce governance to for different purpose. It's more to control. It is to mainly reduce risk, I would say, and of course increase decision power. So it has a completely different angle than indeed speed. So I think it is a bit of a friction there. That's yeah, you want to control, and you're not necessarily looking at the flow, but you want to make sure that your investment is protected and that you don't introduce too much risk. So I think it's not intentionally doing that, right? But unintentionally, I would say yes. I would dare to say. And then it's a matter of really looking into that and saying, all right, is the business case still right for the governance, right? Was it designed with the right purpose in mind? If a project is really risky, yes, of course, you need the proper governance, right, to manage it. So it's also a matter of there, and like keeping in mind, don't have one way of governance for all the projects. Tailor it to the need and the complexity and the risk of the project, and keep flow in mind. So with that balance, indeed, the delays and the waiting time it creates for projects with the value coming from it. And if you have multiple steering committees where no decisions are made and no support is given because the project is running well, then I would definitely say challenge the fact if you need that governance in the strict way it was, because it might hold you up from progressing. So a good reflection to have.
Most certainly, I think having that retrospective after every project, plus, I guess that saying of one shoe size doesn't fit everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Yeah.
most certainly. Thanks for that. And we move on to our next question, which is towards Nadun. And the question is, what role do stakeholders and cross-functional team plays in creating an accurate and useful value stream map?
Let me take an answer little going back to the PIMBOK side. Every project plan we do always comes with the project life cycle, which has the initiation, the planning, execution, monitoring, control, then the closing. Within these 5 stages, we do all our project planning divided to different milestones, everything we do. Now, why here in the value stream mapping, where the stakeholders, cross-functional teams are very important, is like as the project manager or the project coordinator or the director, if you try to do alone the value stream mapping, you will miss a wealth of information. why you will miss wealth of information. Most of the data, first-hand information, is with these cross-functional teams and with the stakeholders. So always we have to take them as part of the value stream mapping. Not only that, take example, without them, you try to find out all information, where the waste occurs, where the value needed, you try to do by your own, then you don't build the accountability with the teams. When you don't build the accountability, what will happen? No one takes ownership and run. So it is very vital when you're doing value stream mapping, always you have to take the stakeholders plus the cross-functional teams. I think I have given a little bit of a justification. Hope everyone clears. Thanks, Pritesh.
Very insightful. Very thanks for that. Okay. Moving to our next question, which is towards Dr. Rakesh. So the question is, what common pitfalls or resistance do organizations face when implementing value stream mapping, and how do you overcome it? I think this also aligns with a lot of questions being asked in the chat. So I hope this quite clears out all of them.
Absolutely. And being leadership role, I can imagine these kind of questions come. So the number one, which is related to the people, when we look at when Sujan presented, there were out of the list, we have a lot of items which related to people. And here I will say again, the number one fear of implementing VSM is that it will expose inefficiencies. So because it demands transparency, it demands a team which can say apple and apple. It can say this is a waste. More often when we see teams in the workshops and the participation, there are more nodding than critically evaluating all those steps. So that's number one. Now, how we can overcome that? We have to create an environment that gives a psychological safety to everyone, saying this is a process, not directing to the people. So every inefficiency or defect we identify to improve upon, it should lead to the process step, not to the person. No finger pointing to anybody, and it's a continuous improvement exercise. So when I say that, it's important for organizations to know that VSM is not one time done and now dusted. We have to revisit after periodicity based on the kind of and the duration of the project. 6 months, 3 months, it depends. What is the dynamism in the project? How frequent the parameters change, people change, material change, or any other location changes, all those stuff. Then the next one, I would say, we often fail to doing this exercise. We try to draw an ideal state, not the future state. So always there is a gap when we try to draw a future state and ideal state. We know that nothing is 100% accurate in this world. So we need to keep certain factors, dependencies constant while we draw, and then we have to see, okay, it can still be done. It can still be done because there are certain things which we need to acknowledge. So that's a number one. And leadership buy-in, I as I said, related to people, we need to show ROI. See, for getting leadership commitment or approval or sponsorship for all such activities, we have to demonstrate ROI, and it's a part of continuous improvement process. And the last one, not involving the right people. So when we do this exercise, it should not be done in the air conditioned room or boardroom. It has to be done on the floor where work is executed. I'm saying it because I come from a manufacturing background. I'm on the field, and we cannot ignore the person who runs the machine, who cuts various elements of that and feed into the machine. It's so important that not only managers are doing this exercise, directors are doing this exercise, but the shop floor operator, the quality inspector, the person who packs the finished good, those are taken into consideration and are invited, and the meeting is not hijacked by the senior professionals. I think these are few things, and also not too much focus on the process, simple symbols, swim lanes, making it beautiful. I would rather say we have to focus on the steps which really create value, and not to look good. So I think those are few things. I hope I answered this question, and also some more questions as you said, Pratish. But I will be happy to answer more any specific question. Thank you.
Sure. No, sounds good. I guess sometimes you just have to put your step down and uh, face a certain direction, I believe. Thanks for that. I think my next question is towards Carlos. I think the question is on the line of new technology. So it's like, how can emerging technologies like AI, automation, or analytics enhance the value stream mapping for large or enterprise level corporation or projects?
Now, the emerging technologies significantly enhance the value stream mapping by making it dynamics, data-driven, and predictive, especially in large or complex projects. The AI and the process mining can automatically extract workflow data from tools from like ERP, Jira, or others project management systems, how, how Oracle Primavera, Microsoft Project, etc., to generate the real-time value stream maps instead of relying on our manual workshops. Increase accuracies and reveals hidden bottlenecks across functions. Advanced analytics helps quantify flow performance, identifying patterns in delays, rewards, and resource constraints, while predictive models can forecast risks before they impact delivery. The automatizations reduce non-values aiding activities, such as manuals, approvals, reportings, or data transfers, directly improving flows once waste is identified. In resumes, the AI, the automation, and analytics transforms the value stream mappings from static diagnostics tools into a continuous intelligence performance management systems that drive faster decisions and measurable improvement at scale. Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos. I guess the technology could be one of the driving factor that will really help you get that insights into the value stream process. Thanks for that. I think my next question is towards Natun. So the question is, in the situations where you come across many wasteful processes, how do you decide on which one to focus, and how do you do that kind of what to take and what not to take, basically?
Pritesh, very simple answer. It's a prioritization. Okay. No, that will not give the justification if I just say prioritization. You need to identify which of the waste, if you try to eliminate, will bring maximum value to the project. So you may be having identified a lot of waste, but all waste, if you try, all waste you have identified, if you try to address at the same point, you will not in a position to do. So try to identify the waste which creates a lot of negative value to the project, and try to address that. So even we call, theoretically, you can apply the 80-20 rule, Pareto theory. So a simple explanation: identify the waste which can eliminate and bring highest value to the project. That order you can do elimination of all waste.
Yeah, most certainly. I think picking up those low-hanging fruit first, that does the maximum impact with the prioritization. That's something will really help. Thanks. I think the next question is towards Dr. Rakesh. So this is on the line of how do you define value, basically, in a context of value stream?
Yeah, so back to basic. value, I'm sure if you pay attention, Sujan has covered in the beginning what customer pays for, the single powerful line. Now, while doing it, we can define customer pays for the best quality. Then here the value, which is multi-dimensional construct, will have a quality weightage more. If it is speed, obviously we have to pay attention more to the speed. If it is agility means adapting to changes. We have to give value to that. So when we define the value in value stream mapping, it is important to know that what kind of project we are doing and what customer is looking for. Sometimes quality is paramount. Let's say we are making some part for the aircraft, passenger aircraft, where we fly. When I'm doing it, and I will say everyone, hey, one day we may be flying in this aircraft, so we should not take a shortcut. We should define what is the real value out of this. So value stream mapping, the real value, that's based on the context, the situation, the type of project, and also the most important, what customer is looking for. If it is speed, sometimes we need to see that, okay, we fulfill this because there's an urgency. So in my view, the value, the definition of value in the value stream mapping is and should be adjustable to the context. Thank you.
That certainly makes sense. Thanks for that. Okay. So the next question is for Suzanne. The question is on the line, are most of the project delays really execution problem, or there are symptoms of poor strategic flow and portfolio overload?
Yeah, that brings it up a level, right? So I think that's an interesting one again, because it's there about, are you indeed a project in a system, or are you indeed a project in isolation? I think you're always part of a bigger system. And if projects do not get prioritized in the right way, if that takes a very long time, if prioritization doesn't take place, and again, like I said before in my presentation, you have too many projects, so they all pull from the same resources, the same people, the same senior leaders, the same developers. So it might get really difficult to get that done. So I would say definitely looking at it from the angle of there is really interesting. Because then it's all about how do you really let the value that you want to achieve, and from there prioritizing the right projects. How do you do that in the right way? How do you do the right project at the same point in time? How do you make sure that they're being done right, and that you really deliver, and that you're not trying to push too many projects through the same highway, everything getting stuck, because everyone is waiting, and projects drag on forever before any value gets created. So I would definitely say try to influence the prioritization process. Always ask, if you start a project or ask to start a project, did it properly got prioritized? Do you really have priority of the company to work on this? And with that also resources available and budget available, and try to have that discussion with your sponsors, with your portfolio boards, with your management team, to really make sure that you also start off on the right foot, I would say.
Makes sense. I think asking why always helps at the very beginning. Why are we doing this?
Not always easy, but important.
Most certainly. Thanks for that. Next question is for Nadun. So how can project managers balance speed versus rigor when developing a value stream mapping without slowing down the delivery?
Okay. So always delivery is one of the three constraints the schedule comes, because if we don't deliver project on time without compromising the quality, then the value won't come. So how we should do is, like, we should always follow basically agile VSM methods. The reason what I want to explain is rather than taking entire on a scientific big picture, you can find out little iterations you can do based on the data, try to do little improvements. It is not one-time activity when you do the improvements. So small improvements, taking the workflows in a micro level, you will be in a position to, without impacting the final project timeline impact, do up a proper value stream planning and give the required value, Pritesh.
Most certainly. Okay, then the next question is for Dr. Rakesh. So the question is sources of biasness and value stream mapping, and how to avoid this in the planning and execution. Quite an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. And question, thank you. Questions I'm getting is mostly people centric. I'm glad to answer those, because bias is again depending on various contexts here. From the people perspective, those who are involved in it, I mentioned in my previous response to it that the who's the actually assigned to be the owner of the VSM, what is the end objective? And if we don't look from the perspective, the observer, the person involved, what's the stake of the person, those who are involved in it. If we are involving those person, that their inefficiency will get exposed, I'm very sure that the VSM will not come out good. In those cases, we need to add observer, which is neutral, and that's where sometimes we need to hire consultant or somebody outside the project that can visualize that there's a source. So bias from the people perspective, bias from the organization processes perspective. We always say organization process asset when we read PMBOK. Sometimes if those assets, organization process assets, they define certain ways of doing things. And when we involve team, when we do BSM, we will see that, okay, this was done like this, so everyone involved will draw it. That takes a bias from the historical thing. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take reference from the history, but sometime as we progress, things change, we need to recalibrate things. So from the organization process asset perspective, we need to actually correct the bias. This is another source. There could be situational bias when we are doing it. Let's say we did VSM couple of months back. There was a different need. Let's say customer was in urgency to deliver something. Organization was in hurry to do something else. Somehow we have achieved that. When we do after 6 months, in manufacturing, we say initially in the prototype or low rate initial production, we do it. But when we come to production, then we have to look from the efficiency perspective. How efficient is our system? So from here, the factors, various factors, they become a source of bias. Then we try to compare from the previous one, and when we'll see, okay, this was done like this. So the bias can originate from people, those who are involved, those who have a stake from the outcome of the VSM, and also from the organization process asset, and also on the situation and the time when we are doing it. I think there are a couple of more, but I just pass for other questions, if any. Thank you.
Oh, that certainly is very insightful, I'll have to say. So in the interest of time, I think this has been a fantastic session, and it's one of the topic that I'm very close to as well. So just to get into the close down of the session, I would like to go around the panelists and ask for like the key takeaways or that one idea that they want the audience to go away with at the end of the session. So I'll start with Suzanne.
Yeah, thanks. Mine remains the value-looking eyes, right? I like that one. I mean, I'm also a person that often gets rushed, is busy, right? You tend to not take that helicopter view, but take that moment of reflection, build it in, look for those value spotting eyes, and see the immediate opportunities you can take to further reduce. It's worth it.
Certainly makes sense. Next, Dr. Rakesh.
Yeah, a lot of takeaways. The acronym firstly, Tim Wood. But the one thing I want to talk about in one line, that psychological safety. When we do VSM, we have to create an environment that it is for process centric, not people centric, and everyone they should participate without fear.
Yep, totally. Having that unbiased opinions basically in the session, that's something that drives things. Carlos.
Please repeat the question.
So I think we are on our closing down part of the session, basically. So we are just going around the panelists, gathering their one final key takeaway for our audience about the session, the one thought you think they want to go away with from the session. If you would like to share that.
It's important for to implementing the VSN because in both cases, in projects and service, the objective is same. Visualize the process, limited weights, and improve performance and value delivery. It's around to the center this panelist. Thank you.
Makes sense. You could use VSM in your daily life as well. Help you to get peak on that efficiency of time management too. So I think Nadun.
Yes, what I want to say is, first of all, before improving the processes, whenever you identify the waste, your priority should be to eliminate the waste. When you eliminate the waste, the value will come more. So concentrate on eliminating the waste. Not that adding value is not important, but when you eliminate the waste, value will come there. So try to prioritize eliminating waste before improving the processes. That's my takeaway.
Thanks for that. So just would like to thank all the panelists on behalf of PMI Mumbai chapter for giving their valuable time and effort for the session, including the spotlight chapters and the key speaker. I would like to now hand it over to Ashfaq to do the close down of the session.
Thank you, Pritesh. Thank you so much for making it so interactive. I'm forced to think what value am I bringing to the audience by doing this event, and what is the waste that I can avoid and prevent. It's a food for thought, something that I will have to think about and discuss with our core team on what exactly we need to do. Thank you, everyone. I know some of you have stayed back late. Some of you have got up very early to just be a part of this session and bring forward the value that you bring to our audience. Thank you on behalf of all our audience today. Continuing with the presentation, I'll just share my screen. Okay, so this is where we close. The next one is the value stream mapping for project optimization. The quote for the day by Ganesh Subramanian is, the fear of change and stepping out of comfort zone is the biggest deterrent to implement a value stream mapping. Process driven and not people focused. As many of our panelists also iterated the same thing. The fear of change and stepping out of the comfort zone is the biggest deterrent to implementing a VSM. Thank you, Ganesh. Thank you so much for sharing the quote. This is the exchange effect. A few minutes ago, we had 380 registration and 170 plus people attended the event today. And you just hold on for the screen for a few seconds. This is the QR code for our next event. The topic is the psychology of stakeholder influence and engagement. The psychology of stakeholder influence and engagement. And this event is happening on the third Friday of the month, and that is on 20th of March 2026. So request, we will be sharing this LinkedIn post, but request you to also help us pass this on to your colleagues, friends, and other members from your chapter and also your personal friends. So that the next event is on 20th of March 2026. I think with that, I will take a moment to thank our volunteers. Thank you for giving your time and attention today. And a heartfelt thank to all the attendees who registered for this session and attended this session, right? And we will be back again next month. Follow our social media handle, follow the Mumbai chapter LinkedIn post. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Thank you, everyone. So to our panelists, we will be sharing a certificate from the chapter in an email. Request you to use that for your social media interaction.
Perfect. Thank you
everyone.
so much. Have a
Thank
great
you,
weekend.
Ashfaq.
Take care.
Thank you so
Good
much.
session.
Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you, Rakesh.
Thank
you,
you
Naveen.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carlos. Yeah, bye.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
I leave exit. So on the top right is the exit, and we can close.